Okay? You're absolutely intent on doing the United Kingdom down because it suits your narrative. Claire Forge deems former Brexit Party MEP Ben Habib 6 boring as they unpack the complexities of Brexit figures. Okay, so some of the things that I bookmark here, they were popping up on my timeline. So I realized it seems like they're trying to change the narrative, the things that went on during the lockdown, the failure that they did. So they're trying to change the narrative. I hope the UK is paying attention. If you guys forget certain things, create a note. Okay, have a notebook when you see certain things or when you hear certain things that is happening. Write your thought on paper. Okay, regarding Brexit, this is what they say. This is what I'm hearing, and then right below it, write your own experience, what you experienced, what you saw, what you felt. That way, you could always go back to that notebook. It doesn't really have to be notebook. If your computer or something. Keep a note, because these people are making you feel like the things you saw, the thing you experienced, the thing you smelled, the thing that you felt, it's not what it is. So keep a note for yourself to remind yourself, this is what I went through during that time. Because I see the narrative is changing already. I mean, it's not like I have a freaking crystal ball in front of me, but just go back to some of my videos. You could see some of the things that I've said during the time when things were happening, and then what's happening now. The narrative is changing. They're making it seem like what you saw, it's not what it is. The facts and figures. I mean, the UK is good at erasing their history. That I know for a fact. They're good at erasing or get rid of or destroy documents that shows their incompetency, their failure of doing the right thing. So they love to erase those things. So I hope some of you keep your own journal. I guess that's what it is. Journal of what you experience every day. That's what the UK needs to do. Create a journal every freaking day. What did you experience? What did you see? What was in the news? And then go back to it. There's YouTube. Create a video for yourself. If you don't want to make it public, that's fine. Don't make it public. Everybody could create a YouTube channel. Record yourself of things that you saw, you experienced, that you felt, the things that you saw, or what somebody did to you, what the government did at that particular day. Keep a journal of it, and then go back to it when you see things is changing. Because the UK seems to be like completely in a hypnotism. They believe every nonsense these people are telling them. Jesus Christ. Okay, so let's listen to this BS now.
There's been a lot of nonsense, I'm afraid, Claire, spoken by the Remain
Ben,
side.
sorry, I've got to be able to have a word. It is my show. I have given you the floor for a long, long time. You're focusing on things that were said, in the Remain campaign 7 years ago. But look, you won. Your side won. So here we are, 7 years after the vote, 3.5 years after we left. Do you really feel good about the gear change that's happened, Brexit Britain? Do you think your countrymen and women feel good, and that we're in those broad sunlit uplands that we were promised?
No, I don't, because for two reasons. One, we've been through one hell of a difficult economic period as a result of lockdowns, number one.
They put them in there. Those people they were the one in power. They're the one who put the people in there. They were pocketing a lot of things that were happening, things that should help the people, but they saw the open floor, or it was season to put things in their pocket. They were creating things and lie to the people. I will never forget when I came across the article about the PPE. I was like, what? This went on? I forgot what the article was about, the exact wording of things that was said, but one of the things I remember saying is that, oh my God, only one company get to have this. They don't create the same thing that I've said when the palace is doing renovation. They don't put a bid out there. Oh, I remember now. One of the companies that got the PPE deal, this person or the group of people who create that company was nowhere in the medical field. Nowhere. They were business people. Then they create the business to have that deal for PPE, and then they get that deal or whatever, the how do they call this, like a bid. They win the bid to provide PPE for the people. And when I look in the background of those people who create that company, nowhere in their history they have medical things in their background. Everything that they did was business people. And I'm like, what the F is this? I remember now that I talk about it. But they create the thing and they pocketed the thing. And another thing that it might be related to, but not fully, there was this video that I did. It's in this channel, because at that time all of those other things that I was talking about, the PPE deal and all of that, is in PYTE. There was this one of those Commonwealth country prime minister. Something happened and he went to Florida in the United States, and he got arrested for something regarding drugs things. And the first thing that came to mind, there were some other things that attached to it when I put one and one together, and I was like, oh my God, they probably trying to frame him so they could have the banking in that particular country that prime minister is from, to do certain things, because they were hiding the money. They were taking money from the UK and hiding it over there. Maybe this guy, that prime minister, was not playing ball with them, so they frame him in Florida. Okay, so that video is on that channel. I don't remember what the full back end of it, but at that time it was fresh. I did the video about it. All right, so let's finish this into it. So he's talking about the Brexit. Okay, so let's move it back a little bit.
Brexit Britain. Do you think your countrymen and women feel good, and that we're in those broad sunlit uplands that we were promised?
No, I don't, because for two reasons. One, we've been through one hell of a difficult economic period as a result of lockdowns. Number one, that's absolutely trashed Western economies right across the board, and you can't point to me a single. Well, you're absolutely wrong.
Oh,
of course, there are economies that have done worse than ours. Look at Italy, look at Spain, look at Greece. We're much better off than they are.
Look at the G7.
The G7. We were one of the top growth countries in the G7 last year.
Oh
I mean, if you're just absolutely intent on doing the United Kingdom down because it suits your narrative.
This old chestnut. So if you have a problem with Brexit, you lack belief in Britain. Actually, it's a failure of patriotism. It's been nonsense for years, and you all have been found out for it.
You're looking back. Now answer this then, Claire. How is it that our trade with the EU is up 13% last year compared to
Ben, I think it's a little bit boring just to trade figures, which we have been a bit, and I'm guilty of that too.
Okay.
Look at the fact that just on energy alone, on a conservative estimate within 1 year, we're talking £1,300 a year going up in bills. We're going to have about 10 million people in fuel poverty. We have a real absolute, not relative, poverty issue going to come in the UK, with food banks oversubscribed, with debt crisis agencies do not have any tools. And I need to say, with the Chancellor coming on in a moment, if you forgive me, as the money-saving expert who's been known for this, I am virtually out of tools to help people now.
Wow. Well, all I have to say is, one of the questions I have to ask some of the British people, how is your living situation right now? How is it going for you? How is your job? Are you the NHS, for instance? How is that going? Because that was one of the major problems the UK was facing with NHS. And I have to remind you, as a warning, do not follow or do not agree to the US system. I live in the US. Okay? That system is not good. It's corrupt. Any small issues you may have and you go to the doctor, it could easily bankrupt you. Okay? I'm living in that system right now. I'm warning my fellow friends in the UK, if they think of me as friend, but this is a warning. If you will not be able to be bankrupt, this is a warning. When you see that system is being presented to you, reject it. What you had already was good. So they messed it up, pretend that there's something better. There is none. Okay? So what you had before was fine. So they find a loophole where they could easily do or find a way where they could packet things just like in the US. So they're trying to sell you, make it look beautiful. It's not. Okay? It is not.
From California.
Mr. Duane, you own Panama Pharmacy. What kinds of things can your shoppers buy besides prescription medicine at your pharmacy?
We have a selection of medical supplies and over-the-counter type items for treating simple illnesses, vitamins.
Let's say a shopper needs vitamins. How does the shopper know how much the vitamins are going to cost?
We have prices on our shelf tags.
They can see the price they'll pay.
That's right.
It's just printed right there on the shelf. They can comparison shop. They can choose. They go to the register, and that's what they're charged.
That's correct.
Now, let's say this shopper, in addition to vitamins, also needs to fill a prescription. Can they look at a price tag on a shelf, on a kiosk, to find out how much they're paying for the medication?
No, ma'am, there's nothing like that.
So how do they get that information?
Well, they could ask me, and sometimes they do, and I tell them what their insurance is charging them. I suppose they could call their insurance company and ask them as well, but for most people, I think it's just unknown.
Does every consumer who buys vitamins, who buys the same jar of vitamins, pay the same price?
Yeah, in my pharmacy, the price is the price, so that's right.
You don't eyeball consumers and decide who has Aetna and who has Humana, and then the vitamins cost a different amount?
No, ma'am, we don't do that.
There's not differential pricing for melatonin based on whether they're being ripped off by Aetna or ripped off by United Healthcare.
That's correct.
But what happens if I go to fill a prescription at your pharmacy? Does every customer pay the same price?
No.
Why not?
Well, I mean, it's because of the insurance company that's paying for their drugs.
And who negotiates with the insurance company about whether those drugs are covered and at what price?
Yeah, oftentimes the insurance companies themselves negotiate with the manufacturers of the drugs, and that's how they come up with the price that will be charged to the patient.
Then what do pharmacy benefit managers do?
They purport to do that.
Explain.
Pharmacy benefit managers argue that they work with pharma in order to negotiate the best discounts. In my opinion, I'm not sure that you can. It sounds like they're talking out of both sides of their mouth when they say you have to have us in order to lower drug costs, but oh, by the way, drug costs have been completely and utterly unaffordable in the same amount of time.
Well, so pharmacy benefit managers, though, they say that they're negotiating prices. Where can I go to learn how much they're saving us? Saving me, saving our country? Where do I go to find this information to quantify this purported good that they're doing?
I haven't seen anything publicly available that reports that.
Me neither. Pharmacy benefit managers don't reveal to either health insurance companies or patients or pharmacies exactly who's getting what deal, and they make money at every step of the process. They pocket money from drug manufacturers, they pocket money from pharmacies, they pocket money from health insurance plans, and nobody knows if they're actually driving down the cost. I believe that there was a time that pharmacy benefit managers maybe did save some money along the way. And I think that's why health insurance companies gobbled them up. Because now they can profit twice. They can profit once as Big Pharma, as the health insurance company, as Big Pharma, as drug manufacturers, and they can profit again as pharmacy benefit managers. Mr. Isaiah, what do you think of this theory?
I think that it depends on which payer. I think in Medicare, we do actually get that information. We know what the prices are, and we know that they're saving us money, and that's why CBO gives us a score that says if you take them away, prices go up.
But why couldn't Medicare just negotiate?
Why
do I need to hire? Is there something like special, like oil you get rubbed on you when you become a pharmacy benefit manager that you're able to drive a bargain that our government officials can't do?
Absolutely not, except that when Part D was created, it was created with in the law it said you cannot negotiate.
So Congress created this beast,
That's exactly right.
and it would now be on Congress to rein it back in.
That's right.
Mr. Dwayne, do you think that PBMs always negotiate a better price than your customers would have paid without insurance?
No, I don't think so. I think that the fact that there are so many discount card programs and cash pay programs are evident of that.
I mean, I've actually asked how much it costs with insurance, gasped in dismay, and then had the pharmacist suggest that I walk over and get a little plastic GoodRx card. And I have heard from other constituents who do that. Since my first term in Congress, I have introduced legislation to get full pricing information to patients without them having to ask. We can't stop PBMs from gouging us until we have the information we need to hold them accountable. Some of that information is upside to what they're actually negotiating in terms of savings, but some of it is down to the consumer. In 2 Congresses, I haven't had a single Republican join my Lowest Prices for Patients Act, which would require patients to be told whether it was cheaper to get the drug without insurance. I'd like to invite any of my colleagues to join me in that legislation. This has been a great showing of bipartisanship, Mr. Comer, but I think we need to deliver solutions together as well.
All right, so let's read some of the comment and then move on. Not going to happen. The die's been cast. Britain is banking on her future association, and the EU and the US will again be administered by Britain with the blessing of her newest Asian lover. Okay, now watch Ben and other far-right Brexiters reverse this. That's what they're doing. Okay, watch how joining the EEC, European Economic Community, delivers Britain meteoric rise from being the most indebted advanced economic in 1971 to off the chart, only to be reversed by the 2007 financial crash, Tory austerity, and Brexit. We must set Britain free of Brexit and debt again. Okay, yes, if you believe really hard, then it will be wonderful. Okay, what is it? All they have to do is create another, I don't know, one of those performances by the monarch to get people all cheery up and forget about their problem. Okay, his blankets were so tight, they melded where they meet in the middle. Ben Habib from the People's Front of Judea is running around calling Brexiteers not real Brexiteers when some of them were cheerleaders for Brexit. When they were avoiding working class people at Winchester College, the fanatics can't even agree among themselves anymore. Okay, Habit figures come from a briefing that states, quote, these figures are incurrent. Prices also not adjusted for inflation. This needs to be borne in mind, given current high level of inflation. It also warns against using to them to comment on underlying trend. Alright, so let's leave that alone. I'm done with this.